What's going on, guys? Okay, so we're coming back this evening, and we're going to kind of do like a walkthrough of CoinDCX and kind of like an intro to margin trading altcoins. So I'm kind of split this into two videos because I wanted to do like Bybit or doing a margin trade video on higher leverage exchanges like Bybit or FTX or something, and then do a video with CoinDCX also in the same video. But instead, I just decided it might be best, as to not confuse anybody, throwing out too much information, to split these up. So right now, since everybody is kind of geared towards margin trading altcoins, I figured we'll start with this one, and we can just do the higher leverage exchanges at another date. So again, excuse my voice being raspy and out of whack right now. We'll work through that for another time too. Okay, so CoinDCX. Okay, couple things that I really like about this exchange. First off, is we have the ability to both spot trade and margin trade altcoins and Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, all on the same exchange. And you can't do that with other exchanges. I'm fairly certain this is the only exchange that allows you to do that. You may have some altcoins, like the major altcoins on FTX or BitMax or something else. But as far as most of the Binance coins, especially now with Binance having their KYC issue and booting off a lot of US residents and whatnot, it makes it difficult to margin trade all the Binance coins on Binance. Well, CoinDCX, I'm sure by law they have to say that certain countries aren't allowed, but they're not really enforcing it, so let's keep that on the low. Okay, so let's kind of walk through this a little bit real quick. Okay, so over here on the right, let's just start on the right here. So portfolio, or profile rather, excuse me. Your referral support, and of course your logout, your notification bell, your funds, your portfolio value. So let's dive into that there. So here we are. And this is that $500 account that I started with, and this is what I'm currently looking at on the portfolio value. So we've been kind of following along with this trade sheet that I've made. And you can see my current balance is pretty close. I expected it to be off, a couple $100 maybe, given the price fluctuation of Bitcoin during the times that I've opened and closed my trades and whatnot. So I figured there'd be a little bit of a deviation there. Okay, so this is your portfolio value. What tokens you hold, and of course you got the option to withdraw, deposit, or trade. Your INR wallet, unless you're Indian and have an Indian bank account, this serves you no purpose whatsoever. Okay, the deposit button, this is where you can deposit coins into the exchange, and of course your list, and it'll bring up like Neo, for example. It'll bring up your your wallet address, the copy paste. So I mean, nothing that we really kind of haven't seen already. Same with withdrawal, same concept, and your wallet history, orders, order history, margin history, and insta history. So at the beginning, when I said that you can spot trade altcoins and spot trade Bitcoin if you want to move into Tether, so this is where all your spot orders would be, your margin history for margin trading altcoins, that would be, and your insta history. Fairly certain this is where your futures would be, and then of course support. Now I gotta hand it to them as far as support wise. I rarely have problems with the exchange, but it is an exchange. There are bugs, there are glitches sometimes. But usually when I have one, I come here and I submit a support ticket, and they're usually pretty quick to respond. So I got to give them props on that. Okay, so over here on the left-hand side, refer and earn, basically just your referral link. Not great referral bonuses. I mean, your friends have to trade a total of 5 Bitcoin before you so much as even see a $25 bonus. So really, really low bonuses for referrals. Excuse me. But that's okay because it does allow us to do a lot of things that we can't do on other exchanges. So buy your DCX Insta. Okay, so that's what that one is. Over here on orders, your Insta order. This is, I guess, in Indian rupees or whatnot. Something to that extent, I guess. Okay, so let's dive into over here where it says trade. Okay, so let's go to DCX trade. Okay, so we can click over here on the left hand side. It's got your favorites, your watch list or whatever, and let's just click on all. So this is where you can do all of your spot trading. So this is just if you're buying an altcoin or Bitcoin or whatever with a stable coin, with fiat or something. Okay, and it's got all the pairs. So you got ADA BNB, ADA BTC, ADF. So, and even against Indian ruple. I don't remember what their currency is. So it lists all the coins in alphabetical order along with the pairs that you can trade that coin in. So if I just want to trade against Bitcoin pairs, it'll show all my Bitcoin pairs. And there's some coins that aren't on Binance. Like this one, Acro. I don't have the slightest clue what this coin is, but it's on there. And Banca Network, whatever. So there's some coins on here that Binance won't have, but this exchange will. So that's okay. That's cool. And then we can go to more, and you can see other pairs that you can trade against. So this is where you can. If you're margin trading alts and you need to cash out because Bitcoin looks like it's about to dump and you want to go short Bitcoin, or you just want to sleep in peace in a stable coin, this is where you can do that. You can quickly move in and out between margin trading and spot buying. And you can do that all right here on this one exchange, and that's why I like this. Okay, so let's go to margin. Okay, so of course this is where you can margin trade coins. Okay, and then you can see like over here we got long and short. There's very few coins that you can short against Bitcoin pair. We did make a list that is posted. Okay. So let's click this long button. So let's say we want to open a position. Now, I don't have any freed up Bitcoin because either I'm in a position or I'm in Tether. I'm in a stable coin. But let's say I want to open up a long position. It says, of course, my minimum order has got to be X amount or whatever. So I can limit, or I can market, or stop limit, which means I can set a price that if I want to long, and let's just say I want to buy an order here at 49 on CoreChain. Even though the price is at 45. So it'd be saying, so that's kind of the saying, if this pumps and shows some good bullish movement above this price, pick it up for me. That kind of thing. Okay, so we can do, let's just do a limit, 100 or 100% or 50% of our portfolio, or we can just manually type in how much we want to buy. And then we can select our leverage right here, 1x, 2x, 3x, or 4x. 4x being the maximum amount of leverage. And you can see our hard liquidation at 38 Satoshi. So that's roughly about 20%. Okay, about 15% or so there. So you got to keep that in mind when you're doing margin trade on altcoins, is your hard liquidation. So you may not want to go all in just in case you need to have some capital on the side to kind of average in there a little bit. Okay, and then your bracket order, target price, stop loss price. So if you're putting in a limit, put in your target price where you want the exchange to sell for you at, and your stop loss price to stop you out. Trailing stop loss is also a great thing. I'm really pleased to see that this exchange has that. So if I put a stop loss, if I bought at 45, and I want to put a trailing stop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Let's just say I want to put in at like 2 Satoshi. So trailing stop loss means that as this price moves up, my trailing stop loss will move up with it. So if it pumps up here to 56, for example, and I got like this 2 Satoshis trailing stop set, that means if there is like a flash crash or a flash wick or something, it will move my stop loss up 2 Satoshi behind the current price. So if this starts moving up at 56 and I got my trailing stop at 54 and there's a quick flash crash, it'll go ahead and close out my position for me at 54. And that way, if there is a deeper crash, it'll protect that asset for me, or protect that portfolio. Okay, so that's trailing stop. And you can click to see whether if you want it to send you an email notification or not when your position is closed or not. Okay, so that's longing. You can't really short this one. ADA Bitcoin you can. So we can short ADA against the Bitcoin pair on this exchange. But here's the kicker. So up here at the top, you have margin availability. So if you click on margin availability, it'll show you what coins against the Bitcoin pair, because that's what we're in, what coins against Bitcoin are available to short. So we can short ADA against the Bitcoin pair because there is 135,000 coins available to short. So there is kind of like that limit, that cap of available coins. So if you're the only one shorting ADA against the Bitcoin pair and you want to open up a big short, you're only going to be able to buy 131,000 tokens. See, that was at like 135 just a minute ago. So somebody shorted 4,000 coins. Okay, same for the rest of these here. These are the available amount that you can short. So ZIL, I know Zilliqa is one that we're waiting and kind of watching to see if we can short. So there's 262,000 coins available to short. Okay, so if we're waiting for this to roll over, and let's say we want to short it down to there. Okay, so that's got an 18% potential to fall if this were to roll over. Okay, so let's just look at ZIL. Okay, so if we want to short ZIL, now we only have up to 2x leverage that we can short ZIL on. So this 18% move and a short would be 36% profit. So a little bit lower leverage, a little bit lower leverages for shorting than there are against long in the Bitcoin pair. So now you see ADA right here at a 3x. Did we have an ADA chart pulled up? Dang, missed that buy right there again. So ADA at a 3x short. Let's say we just caught it right here. And this is already a 10% dump, so we'd already have bagged 30% profit. Okay, so there are some pairs that you can short against the BTC pair, but again, you have to come up here, check the margin availability, and see what is what's available and how many you can actually buy to short. Excuse me. Okay, so again, down here at the portfolio, we see our balance. We can see what coins that we are currently in. So I got, almost probably like a third of my portfolio sitting in Tether, It's safe. I don't care what happens to it. If Bitcoin, I can use this now to margin trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, or on the US dollar pairs. So if I wanted to short or long, even in margin, ADA against USDT, I can, because I have some of my funds in the US dollar pair. So I have that versatility because I have Bitcoin in my portfolio and US and Tether in my portfolio, that I can kind of hedge against myself. So that's one strategy. So I got some of my money moved into Tether so I can play USD pairs, and then I have some of my portfolio in Bitcoin to play Bitcoin pairs. So I have that freedom, I guess. Or I can just sleep comfortably at night knowing that if there's a major crash, well, I'm gonna, and let's just say I lose all $6,000 that I have in Bitcoin right now. Well, I'd still have at least, $3,300, and we started this count with 500. So I'd still be up almost 600% on that starting portfolio. So that kind of gives me some of that leeway to protect my portfolio in case there's some kind of stupid flash crash or something overnight. Okay, so let's go to active positions. Okay, so you see we're kind of hurting on some of these positions right now. Okay, so you see what your pair is, your type, along how many, what your position is, so how many coins you got in that position, where your stop loss is, where your entry is, the current price, and how much, whether if you're in a loss or not. Excuse me. Okay, so you see these three little dots over here on the right side. Okay, so these are some options that I can do. I can exit the position and eat that loss. I can add to my margin. Okay, so right now I'm long 4x leverage. If I want to add to my margin, I don't have any Bitcoin available right now because it's all tied up in positions. But if I wanted to take some of my Tether and buy Bitcoin to average in, I can average in, and well, again, I don't have enough. I don't have any money in Bitcoin right now, any free money in Bitcoin, but I can add in a quantity. Say if I wanted to put 0.01, you would see what your new margin is down here, what your new leverage is down here. So by adding the margin, I can lower my margin, which would lower my liquidation price. So if things start getting heated on Cork Chain, for example, my liquidation price is at 39. I can come in here, click this add margin button, and I can average in, add a little bit more Bitcoin into this to lower my margin, maybe get it down to 35 or something. Okay, same for remove margin. So look at WAN right here. WAN, I have a 3x long. So I can do this and do a remove margin. Okay, so now you see that I want to take some of that position out. So now it's going to raise my leverage. So we had it open at a 3x. Now it's showing that if I took 0.01 out, I'd be up to a 3.2x, and it would also raise my liquidation price. And see, here's my current margin. So I got 0.12 in it. Okay, and my new margin would be 0.11. So I'd be pulling the money that I have in the position out, but it would raise my leverage and raise my liquidation price. So one strategy that I have done, and it's a risky strategy. Okay, so for example, let's say Cork Chain here. So let's say this is getting close to, I open this position at a 4x long at my entry right here at 47. Now let's say it starts getting close to my liquidation point at 39. So I'm sitting in a little bit of a loss right now, and $100 would be wiped out of this loss if it ticks up just one. So if it goes back to 46, this would be like a $94 loss. So it's not too terrible right now, and that's certainly something you got to keep in mind When you're margin trading altcoins, and I'll get to that in a minute, with some of these lower sat coins, how much one tick can make, and whether if you're in a loss or a gain. So again, so let's go back and say, okay, it's getting close to my liquidation price at 39, but on a high time frame, let's say like a weekly time frame, it's still very much trending bull. So it's got a very bullish trend on a weekly time frame, but I'm getting close to being liquidated. So you can add to that margin to lower your leverage. Okay, let's just do that. Let's go to Court Chain. Okay, so let's just say it does. Ooh, man, can we get some different colors there? Okay, so let's say Court Chain does come closer to my liquidation, and I'm getting kind of worried. I'm going to add and lower my liquidation. Let's say I want to lower it down here to 30. Okay, so that would probably put me at like a 2x margin, so to speak, instead of 4x. I'm cutting that in half. Now, the further this drops, the bigger my loss will be, and of course, you'll be sweating bullets. But let's say it comes down here, and this is where it finds its support to begin a new bullish reversal trend. So we've added our margin, and we now lowered it from a 4x to a 2x. So now as the price recovers, and now it gets closer back to my original entry price, I can just go in and I can take back out the money that I put in that position to lower that leverage. So whatever I put in when I added the margin, I can take back out, and it'll put my leverage back at 4x, and I can pocket that money and put it, somewhere else, or just keep it on the sidelines. So it's good to always have that side cash on hand in case you need to. In case you need to lower your margin to avoid liquidation. And I'll show you a good example of that here in just a second, how that could have really worked to my benefit. Because it could have prevented me from taking a loss on the position. Excuse me so much, guys. Okay. So we can come in and we can also add a target if we didn't have one set. See, if you see target right here and it says view. Okay, well, I didn't have a target set. So I can add a target. Well, I did eventually add targets. And you can come in here and you can set your target. So you can click add target, and you can type in what price you want to sell that position at, and you can choose how much you want to sell it at, either 50%, 100%. Or you can type in the amount of coins that you want to sell that at, and you have a limit option and a market option. Okay, so I've kind of bounced around a little bit here, conflicted on where I should sell this bag. Oh, see, okay, there you go. So that was one tick up, and it removed $100 loss out. So if it goes up one more tick, then I'd be at break even. Okay, but back to add target. So you can also plan your exit strategies using this add target tool. So again, I can come in here and I hit edit, and I can change what price I want to sell this position at. Easy peasy, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, and then edit. Again, you can edit your stop loss and edit your target price. Easy peasy. So details down here. Details tells you the entire detail of this trade. Okay, so here's your token and pairing. Here's your side, whether if you're long or short. Your margin status says open, so my position is open, and it was a limit entry. So I had a bid set at the price that I wanted, and I just got filled, so I didn't market buy it. Quantity, price, stop loss price. Now that's not my stop loss. That's basically saying where it's going to liquidate me at. Average exit price. This is still open, so of course So there's two things here that we need to note. Your fee. So you are margin trading, so you are borrowing money. So you have to pay back the money that you borrow, plus they're going to take a few bucks or so as a fee for allowing you to borrow that. So this is so always be aware. This is like your maker taker fee kind of thing, right? Something like that to that extent. Your interest rate. So this is a little bit different, I guess, in a sense, as funding rate, and we'll get to funding rate in a different video. So your interest rate, and now again, you are borrowing money. So this is like, you go to a bank to borrow money for a car, they charge you interest. So on top of the fee to close the trade, they're going to make a little interest off of you borrowing it. So it's 0.05%, which is a little higher than Binance and other exchanges or whatever that have this interest rate option. But I mean, that's okay. It is what it is. So on trades that last longer than 24 hours, you'll have an interest rate here. So if you did a quick scalp in the same day, you won't pay an interest. It'll be zero. Okay, so this is the order value. Now it says 0.478. Now that is with 4x leverage. So if you were to figure out how much of your position that you actually have in that, how much of your money, then you just take that number and divide it by 4 or whatever your margin is. So really, I only have about 0.12 or something of my money in there, 0.11 or something. Okay, created and updated, and then of course what kind of loss you're in, and how much your fees are going to be right there. Pretty overall, pretty cheap fees. No, I don't think I've ever really seen much more than like $10 or something, maybe 12 or something. Depends on how long the trade is open. Okay. Then there's other actions here. You can also edit some stuff here, and then this X button right here will automatically market close that position for you. So I don't want to hit that. Okay, and then your margin history. It'll show you like your wins and your losses and whatnot. Let me move this up a little bit. There was supposed to be a button here. Maybe it's up top. Margin history. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, so let's look at some of my trades here. Let's see. All right, so this week was kind of boring. So I mean, small gains that kind of added up. So let's look at this week. Let's look at the trades from this week. So this is when the portfolio really started to pop, because we had some really awesome some gains here to kind of jumpstart the portfolio, and then a loss. And I really want to focus on this, because that goes to what I was saying about how I could have lowered my margin, lowered my liquidation price, and whatnot. So let's find this week. Okay, so that was what, the week of May 11th. 20th, May 18th, May 11th. Okay, so there we are, May 11th. Okay, so that's that trade right there for $148. So again, it's going to fluctuate a little bit. I don't know why it does this, because like when I closed the position, I immediately logged it, and it was $148 or something at that time. So I don't know why it kind of plus or minus a few bucks or something, but I mean, it is what it is. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that's that week right there. And then you can see there's $814 trade here, but this one's showing as $846, $259 there, and a $429 there. So that's where I logged these on the 14th, and that's those two trades right there. Okay, so this is when the portfolio really kind of started to expand, started to make profit, so I can branch some of that money out into other positions. Okay, so then we took this loss right here on FTM, right there. So it's about, you can see down here where it says sum, about a $714 loss. But of course it's saying it's right here, it's about 721. Because again, for whatever reason, price fluctuations in Bitcoin and whatnot. So, so let's look at these trades, for example. Okay, so I can click on it and it'll show up my details here. Okay, so my entry price on that trade was at 56, and I got psyched out and sold at 51. So if we were to go and match that up on that chart, well, let's go back. What day was this again? Okay, so the 15th. So let's go back to the 15th. Okay, so that is... And let's make that bigger so we can see it. Okay, so that is this day. So, and was this my first positions in it? Nope. Okay, I guess I need to back up just a little bit more. So before I took that loss, earlier trades were banging. So we made $1,500 in those 2 days prior to it. So right there, again on FTM. So 49 entry on, let's see, the 13th. Okay, so the 13th is right here. So my first trade on that was somewhere right around here. It was showing a strong bullish momentum. I understood where my resistance zone was. So this was a good scalp right there. So this is 49 right here. And where did I exit that trade? 49 and sold at 56. Okay, so there. That was a 13% move on this scalp trade. Now again with 4x. Okay, so it rounded it up to 14%, but with 4x leverage on it, it was a 50% profit trade, or 57%, whatever. So I also had, let's see, that was the only trade on FTM that day, and I turned around the next day and reloaded that for another quick scalp. Okay, so caught this little dip right here. Now my overall trend right here was still bullish, so I basically just caught a quick dip. Now this is the 6-hour chart. If I were to go down to an hourly, we can probably see that a little bit better. Okay, so that first entry was right here at 49, scalped it up to here at 56, and then kind of caught this somewhere back down here on a quick dip. And then where did we sell it again? 54 to 57. Okay, so we caught this quick little dip right here and then scalped it back up here to almost the top for another quick trade. Now again, it was a quick scalp, so I didn't care. If I missed a little bit more up here, I didn't care if it dipped a little bit, because the overall trend on a higher time frame was still bullish. So it's quick in and out, and kind of reloading to build a position back for like a swing trade. At the same time, the profits from that trade I kept on the sideline for another trade, or just to keep in a safe pocket or something. Okay, so that was another trade, and then we scalped it again from 52 to 56. Now here's where I got psyched out. Okay, so this was the 15th, which was here. So I scalped and then scalped again and then reloaded, because these two little wicks here looked like it was forming a base support to catch a small pullback before another push. Now I got faded out right here, at 51 or so, and I sold both of those positions for a loss because the trend kind of shifted and started to went bear on me. So what was my entry? 53 and 56. Now again, because this is a low sat coin, 1 or 2 sat moves is going to show a big difference in how much you lose or how much you gain. So you have to have a completely different mindset with these altcoins, especially these low sat altcoins, because they can move, 5 to 6% or so easily every day. They move very fast and they have a wider range that they can move. So you have to keep that in mind when you're setting a stop loss also, especially on some other higher coins like ADA or something. I mean, ADA in a day. Okay, so let's just say, let's just do it. Okay, so let's just go right here, down here at this bottom right here. So in a day, that moved 6%. And then in that same day, it turned around and dropped 2.5%. Now, 2.5% doesn't sound like a lot of drop on a spot buy, but if you have a leverage on it, that's almost 12% of your position. So it puts in your mindset, crap, I'm down 12%, I got to cut my loss. But because these altcoins can move in greater ranges than Bitcoin in a day, you kind of have to tweak your mindset to hold a little bit longer than a quick little dip. Because even though that was only 2% dip, and it would register like an 8 to 12% loss, it quickly recovered and started to go back up. So you would have psyched yourself out, and you would have missed the bigger move. So that's what happened to me here at FTM, selling. What was that again? Selling at 51. Okay, and then look where this bottomed out at about 46. Okay, so I sold at 51, and I mean, yeah, it did dip 9% more, but if you look at that overall structure, it did not break that support. So I could have held that loss a little bit longer. I could have lowered my margin down to protect myself against liquidation in case it came back down here, because it was close enough to the bottom already that I could have been okay holding it, because the higher time frames were still trending very much bull. So I psyched myself out there and I took that loss, and that was a $700 loss. Now look what happened. Look what would have happened had I not psyched myself out. Okay, so I sold here at 51. Look what happened over the next 3 days or so. 37% move. Okay, so even if I didn't sell all the way up there at the top, let's just say I sold here at 66. Okay, 30% move. So I had 4x leverage on that. So if I had held that a little bit longer, sweated some bullets or something and held through that loss, or even lowered my margin and then saw that it recovered and pushed, I could have made 120% profit on that instead of taking that $700 loss. So I had for this trade and this trade, well, let's just say $1,400 in those two trades. So, and I think these were two separate trades. These were on the same day. So they may have been two different bags. So I may have had two positions open in the same day. Okay, so let's say that I had two different positions open on the same day, and for a total of $2,800. So if I had held through that loss and it recovered and went up to 30%, and let's just say I sold up here for 30% at 4x leverage, that's 120% profit. I could have turned, instead of that $700 loss, I could have made probably a little over $3,000 in profit. So that is a strategy that you kind of have to feel out for yourself. You know, how big are your cojones, I guess? Are you willing to, especially on these low sat coins, are you willing to hold through a larger loss for a hopeful bigger gain in the next coming days? So that certainly is something that you have to keep in mind when margin trading altcoins, because they do move in wide ranges relatively quickly and easily throughout a day or two period. So you kind of have to have a different mindset around margin trading altcoins than you would Bitcoin, which, you know, I mean, let's look at Bitcoin here. Okay, so let's just say, okay, that's 1 day right there. That's 3% in 1 day. So Bitcoin moves a lot slower through, you know, mostly chop zones or whatever than altcoins do, because in the same period that, let's just say, okay, from up here down to that bottom, so let's say in that same period of a week, Bitcoin moved 12%. Let's look at ADA, for example. Okay, so this is a new weekly candle. So let's say last week, in that same time that Bitcoin moved 12%, ADA did 50%. So if that was a good, strong swing trade, you know, if this, for example, was a trade that you had played, that'd be 200% profit. Okay, now with a lower margin, you know, Forex on trading altcoins, you know, you're 15-20% from being liquidated. So if this was your buy-in on ADA, even at the bottom of this weekly candle right here, I mean, look where this thing has to go to take you out. I mean, it would have to dump all the way back to the bottom. But that was a good, strong weekly uptrend that didn't show that bearishness, that bearish drop that it would. So it kind of gives you that confidence, knowing that you're able to hold the coin even in a loss for a shorter period of time, while staring at bigger gains, you know, over the next few days. So you kind of, again, you kind of have to change your mindset of how you hold your altcoins and at what leverage and whatnot, because altcoins can move a lot more fluidly than Bitcoin does, and you can make some serious cash, serious quick margin trading altcoins, as I'm showing you guys right now. Okay, so lower sat coins, you got to have a different mindset. I mean, you got to have like almost some serious balls to play lower sat coins, to be perfectly honest. Because 1 or 2 sats, I mean, let's just say, okay, here's 57 and 2 sats. Okay, from 57 to 55 is a 3% move. You got 4x leverage on it, that's 12%. Okay, so 2 sats on a low sat coin makes a big difference. So you got to keep that in mind. I know a lot of you guys right now are looking at 1. You guys are looking at Harmony for a Coinbase listing. Now this is an even lower sat coin. Okay, so 38 to 40. From 38 to 40 is 5%. Now if you got, you probably can't do 4x on that one. You probably have to do 3x or something because it's lower sat coin. But if you got 3x leverage on it, that's 15% loss that you'd be holding in on a 2 sat move. So lower sat coins, you definitely have to take a lot more into consideration there. Thank you, Bitcoin, for getting that little bounce right there. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, so that's what I wanted to show you and why that was really important. because this loss right here that I took right here could have, if I had held a little bit longer, a little bit more patience, maybe averaged or lowered my margin a little bit, that could have turned in from a $700 loss to $3,000 profit instead. Okay, so the following week, here's May 18th. So now we're in this week. Pretty good week. Pretty good week that week. We did $2,000 or about 192%. So from the 18th to the 23rd, what did we play? Okay, so we took some scalps on INS. Good scalps on ICX and WAN. Got some good 30% moves there. And Cosintos is another 30%. So you can see my position sizes got smaller on those first few plays. So as my portfolio grew, I was able to kind of play more coins and kind of branch out and diversify what coins I'm in a little bit more. In case, INS, let's just say I was holding that longer and it wasn't moving, but ICX did. So I could have made profit in ICX and maybe not so much profit in INS, or even taken a loss in INS, but the win from ICX could have offset that loss or something. Excuse me again. Okay, so that's where we are on the 23rd, right there, 598. Am I missing one? 24th. Okay, so we're getting a little chopped up there. So 571. That may be that trade right there. And it was closed on the 24th. Okay, whatever. The date. Yeah. Okay. So then, let's see. Then last week was killer. $5,000 profit that week alone. 489% gains up to this point on the month. So this week alone, from my starting balance of $1,000 when I started this balance in May, because if you again remember in April we started with $500, and those were my gains adding up for monthly profit, and then rolling into the new month, starting off a new balance, and that's current balance there. So yeah, that was $5,000 a week, and up to this point with that balance, it was 489% on the month up to that point. So that was a crazy awesome day on a Sunday, nonetheless. We did $3,000 on a Sunday. So let's look at what we did there on Quark Chain and Troy. Okay, so big wins on those days. I mean, 65, almost 70% gains there. Okay, so let's look at Quark Chain. So this is where I'm going to punch myself because I wasn't patient enough. Okay, so let's look at our entry here from 37 to 43. Let's go to Quark Chain. Okay, so our entry was here, and we sold there. So that was a good 14%. And again, I played that off of those wicks right there. So I was expecting, that was a good push right there. So you could see the overall structure, and I hopped in it for what I thought was going to be a scalp. And what I had thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to reject at this resistance line because it's got some historical resistance context in it. So I thought it was going to come up and reject, pull back, and then I was going to buy that pullback for the next leg. Obviously, it did not. Okay, so from where I sold, let's see, where am I? Right here. From where I sold, it popped another 80%. So that's this move right here. Just this 180% move was another 320% profit I left on the table. So if we go back to that trade, Oops. Let's see, Quark chain. Quark chain. So this is where we were down here. Is that trade? Entry 37 to 43. Yeah. Okay. So I made $571 on that bag and $632 on that bag. Same entry. I split up my bag so it'd be easier to dump them rather than dumping 0.4 Bitcoin trade there and a 0.3, so about a 0.8 bag all at once. So I split my trades up, dumped one bag, let it bounce a little bit back to that same sell point, and then dump the other bag. But so let's add. I mean, we don't really have to add that up to see what that profit could have been. So that's basically saying that I missed another 320% profit. So this $571 profit here could have been, $1,600-$1,700 profit on this one bag. Same for this other bag. Could have been probably, let's see, times 3 is $1,800, maybe close to $2,000. So again, this could have been another $3,000 win. Okay, but oops, we'll go back to the chart. But again, you see green on margin trading altcoins, especially like a big gain like that, because this was 60 something percent. Heck yeah, you want to lock that in. You want to lock that in, and of course it's hindsight because I was looking at this as a resistance, so I was still playing price action resistance zone, and it's hindsight because I was not expecting such a large pump going after or following after. So I sold early, sold way early, left a lot of money on the table, and that happens. It's going to happen. It's just something you're going to have to accept. It's just kind of part of trading, guys. I did the same with Cosentos. Sold too early. Missed the rest of a nice big pop on Cosentos. Left them a lot of money on the trade. And that's fine because, let's see, from this entry here at, what was that, 39 or 37? 37. So from this entry at 37, the coin itself did 112%. Now, even though I sold early with a 4x leverage, I still bagged 65%. I'm not going to argue with 65% profit. It was still good profit. Okay. Same with Troy. Made the same mistake on Troy. Actually, I think Troy was pretty spot on. Troy was like almost dead on. If I can get this right. Okay, so this topped out at 48. Troy, and I sold I sold these last two scalps on Troy right at 47 at the top. So see, again, so again, if we look at the chart, you can see the top there. Okay, so that one actually did play into, oh God, this is a very, very bad call way back here then. Expecting more out of that pump, but obviously not. Okay, so again, I was playing my resistance zones. So obviously we had a 48, 49 target up here, okay, off of this resistance, and I sold here at 47. Now this could have done the same thing like I was hoping, or this did what I was hoping Quark Chain would have done. Come up to resistance zone and fall back to rebuy back in. So unlike Quark Chain, this one actually listened, whereas Quark Chain just kept on pumping up. So I sold this pretty well right there at the top. And this was some great scalping, great scalping right there on Troy. Okay, so Troy alone, oops, nope, that's the wrong column. This column. Okay, so Troy alone brought me almost $4,000. Phenomenal scalping right there. Great scalping. Okay, and then another quick scalp on Quark Chain. Didn't quite play out like I was hoping to on the last time I tried to scalp it. didn't quite get the bounce I wanted. And you know what? I took $134 profit. I could have sold earlier. Let's see, cork chain. Gotta put that back up there. Okay, so this was right around somewhere here on this bounce. So I think I had a sell up here at 57 because I was expecting that quick bounce, a relief bounce up here to 59 to retest that wick. But instead, it didn't even come to the tops of these candles right here. It stopped just shy at 55. My sell was at 57 and 53. So one of my sells sold, but my other bag didn't. And then it kind of dropped down here to 48 or so. And I sold there. So it gave me an average of 50. So rather than this trade being, I think it was like $700 profit, I got out with $134 profit. Now, again, look at my entry. It was 49. And look at the price now. We're at 46. So I did reload here at 47. But I'd be sitting in a much bigger loss up here from 49. And that'd be really hard to regain that. So margin trading alts and developing your strategy around that, it's a different mindset than trading Bitcoin. So again, you know, these coins can move easily 5 to 10 to 12% ranges in a day, and with 4x leverage, I mean 5% move is, you know, 20% profit or so. A 16% move is obviously a lot more profit. So again, it's a different mindset. And you don't care if you're scalping. You don't care if you miss the rest of the move. You don't care if you buy, you know, a little too early and you could have gotten a little bit lower. Because when altcoins bounce, they usually bounce pretty hard. And the goal here is to simply just make profit. Oops. Okay, so absolutely smashing week there. Really good profits the week before. And there's our loss there, and some good profits that week. And then, okay, so we made great profits. There's another profit there on dumping Troy. That should be a little bit lower. Okay, but now this is where we currently are. So we're sitting in some losses. We're on the verge of possibly giving some money back to the market. Trying to be a little patient here. So you can see I got one bag left of FTM. This is open, this is closed. Okay, so I sold FTM, one of my bags of FTM at 214. Of course, when I clocked this, it was $209 loss. Where'd it go? Close. Okay, so yeah, it took a loss there. That snapped a 15 win streak, and that's okay. I'm not going to get overly bent out of it. 4 losses, closed positions on the month, and you know, on the verge of kind of losing some more there. So yeah, so those are, you know, my trades. Kind of just an insight of, you know, scalp strategies and how to develop your mindset around margin trading altcoins, because they do move a lot differently and a lot quicker than Bitcoin does. So you kind of have to have a much firmer grip on your emotions and really kind of focus at the higher trend time frame for those bigger trends. So if you're sitting in a 4 to 5% spot move loss, but with margin it's really 20%, you really got to understand, okay, it's not really in 20%. The coin didn't lose 20% of its value. It's only 5%. That's not a dump. That's a dip. 5% moves on an altcoin is a dip, not a dump. So you really have to tweak that mindset around that and look at higher time frames for the overall trend. Like look here. Look at Cosentos right here. So if you bought late up here, kind of near this top, and this dips, okay, well that's 14% because that's a low sat coin. Yeah, that probably would have, that may have kind of psyched me out too if it didn't already liquidate me or whatever. But again, If I kind of bought up here, but look at the strong trend. Well, obviously you wouldn't see that. So let's go right here. Okay. So this had strong trend, strong volume, strong momentum here in the indicators. But we caught this little dip right here after buying in a little too late. Because you may have been looking at a weekly time frame or something. I don't know. You could have averaged, you could have lowered your margin to avoid that liquidation. And then obviously you see the bigger pump. So as this started to recover, again, you can remove your margin. Let's say if you bought right here and put you back at 4x leverage, and then ride that puppy up and then just sell at your resistance zone. So a couple of different strategies there. Okay, so WAN is a 3x. Look what my stop loss price is, for example, at 15.14. So that means if I go to the WAN chart and if it's going to liquidate me, so down here I already put where my liquidation was, which is all the way at the bottom. So I got room, and this is a small bag, maybe like $600 or something. So it's not going to hurt me too bad for a swing trade with the upcoming fundamentals that WAN has in June. So I got an alert set that I mentioned earlier in the live stream earlier. Okay, so that's another 5% potential move down, and it looks likely that it will at some point test that lower 800. So I'll be sitting in an extra 20% loss. For all I know, that may be like another $100 or so. So I could be sitting in a $300 loss on that, for example. But again, I feel it's overall safe. And again, if it starts creeping on down here, and I might start sweating a little bit, okay, well I may lower my leverage a little bit to lower my liquidation, and I could put $100 in, and it would probably lower it to like $14.50. So that means in order to liquidate that position, it would have to make a new low. So for all I know, again, it can do this, and again, if I see that it's holding this support zone, then I can simply open up another bag on top of my swing position and ride it back up. So it's a different mindset there. That you got to strategize and kind of feel out. Now MTL, of course, MTL is really hurting right now, and this second FTM bag. And I did lower my leverage there by adding money. So with these losses right here, what the hell is this? This is a closed position for $100. I don't remember this because I only got 2 open positions on Quark Chain. I probably did that in my sleep or something. Okay, so that's one I missed there that I got a log. So somewhere in here should be another $100 loss or something. Okay, so all these open positions here, so these 2 and then these 3 added up might be about $1,500 in loss. I mean, yeah, that looks bad now, but if they recover, as I showed you here on FTM, by not getting psyched out, looking at a bigger picture, then they might turn into profit, and I might not be sweating so much. So, I mean, yeah, holding through bigger losses does suck and does hurt, but I went into these trades with that mindset and knowing whether if I got a good entry or a bad entry, whether if I'm going to swing trade these particular bags or scalp them. Excuse me. At the same time, my portfolio diversified, so I still have a fair amount of my assets in Tether, in a stable coin, so my overall portfolio is not overexposed. So I took some of my money out to reduce that exposure. At the same time, I can hedge against any losses against Bitcoin pair alts with US dollar pair alts. I can short or long US dollar pair alts, or even Bitcoin itself. Okay, so I have that ability to hedge against my Bitcoin pair alts, or use some of this money to buy Bitcoin and lower lower my leverages to avoid being liquidated. So I may be I may be stuck in some of those positions for a while, and that's fine. That's fine. If I'm stuck in these for a while and I can hold on and wait for some bounces, wait for these to recover, well, okay, then so be it. No big deal. Okay, so quick refresher of what everything we went through. So again, this was BTC to US dollar. Okay, so again, I started this account with about $500, so that is 0.053 Bitcoin. And my portfolio is just shy of 1 Bitcoin. So in that last month, I took almost 0.05 and turned it into 1 full Bitcoin using this exchange, and kind of walking you through some of my trades and my thought process and strategies around those trades. So if you have that small portfolio, you don't have a lot of money in your balance, or you're just using a couple $100 to learn margin trading alts and get comfortable with alts, margin trading alts, just like I did here, one position, and I did kind of go all in. So here, this was about $450. That was maybe half of my position or something. And that was a good trade, 74%. Okay, and then as my account grew, as it grew and grew and grew, I was able to kind of diversify and go into. I was able to get spread it out into more altcoins at the same time, also keeping some in Tether stablecoin to hedge against any losses. So I hope this helps. Certainly a lot of good things about DCX, especially the ability that I don't have to send money from one exchange to margin Bitcoin or Ethereum and then send it to another exchange to buy altcoins. I can do it all on one exchange. Now, again, if I want to short or long Bitcoin itself, I can do so up to 6x. And that's perfectly fine for me. I am not a degen gambler, maybe except on altcoins, because I love altcoins. And I can read their charts and understand and feel their price movements a lot better than I can Bitcoin. But with Bitcoin, it's a lot riskier for me. It doesn't ever really follow TA right. It really doesn't. So having that option to really limit myself at 6x max means that I don't have to worry about doing something stupid and accidentally click in the 25 to 50 or 100x position and then accidentally going all in or something on that. So 6x is perfectly fine for me, because let me show you. Back in February, I kind of did the same thing that I just did now with this account, from $500 to 1 Bitcoin, $9,500 or whatever. Back in February, when alts were popping, it was a $6,000 position that I turned into $36,000. So it was 600% gains. Obviously here we're at 1,700% gains, but it was kind of easier to do with a smaller portfolio to make those kind of gains than it was with $6,000. So I was able to spread out a little bit more, some losses, some gains, and whatnot. But so from beginning of February, somewhere around here or so, all the way up here, $6,000 to $36,000 profit. Now let's just hindsight here, and I did call it. I did call the top. I did say, yo guys, this was about to fall out of the sky, but I got greedy I was making such good gains, such good profits on altcoins that I got greedy and tried to squeeze another day or two out of scalping altcoins before going into a Bitcoin short. Now again, this part right here is hindsight, as nobody saw this huge of a dump coming. But let's just say I got out of all the altcoins. Let's just say up here, maybe not quite at the top, but let's just say up here somewhere. And I put all $36,000 in a lower leverage short, let's say 5x. So in order to liquidate me at a 5x, it'd have to come, it'd have to come all the way up here. But looking at those macro level charts, there was no way in hell, because they were all rolling over. So this dump happened so fast. And let's say I had all $36,000 at a 5x short, and let's say I shorted it down here. Maybe obviously didn't catch that wick. So let's say I found a good support zone. Okay, I was going to short it down to here. That's a 45 to 50% drop. That would have been 200 to 250% profits, or probably, I don't know, close to $100,000. From $6,000 to $36,000 to $200,000. Then let's say, and again, this is hindsight, then again, let's just assume or say, okay, so we made $100,000, saw a good support base coming, and we kind of noticed that this was going to pop. So let's say we put all $2,000 in again, and let's say we just did a 3x leverage. So we lowered our leverage even more because we had a bigger account playing. Okay, so let's say we rode this up, and let's just say even we so much as sold right here at 9,500. That's 74%. At 3x, that's 210%. Great. Now we just turned $100,000 into about $230,000, $240,000 or something. And this was a $6,000 position, and in 105 days. So about three and a half months, from 6,000 to 200,000. Now again, that's hindsight. That's hindsight. So I mean, who's to say that would have ever happened that way? But it gives you at least perspective of how quickly your portfolio and your life can change with proper trading, and good skills, good talent, or whatever, and knowing, doing what we teach you guys here, especially learning from these margin trades. I'm gonna get this out of Bitcoin. I'm gonna put that back in US dollar. I hate reading it in Bitcoin. And practicing good risk management. So especially with a lot of volatility in some of these coins, it doesn't take long to, change your life around. Because again, we just did it with a small $500 portfolio in 1 month and made 1,700% gains, and turned it into almost, a couple $100 away from $10,000. And then over the next month, let's say I managed to keep all of this profit, and over the next month I did another 300 or 400%. Okay, so now I'm sitting at $27,000, $30,000 from a $500 position in 2 months. Okay, so margin trading can be extremely profitable, especially margin trading altcoins. They can move very fast, as we saw with T-Fuel. Holy crap, T-Fuel. Okay, so again, another example. That one coin, if I can spell, one play, and mad props to some of our members who called this, who saw this coming. Mad props, because you guys called it all the way down here at like 35 or something. Okay, so that was a 600% move. So let's say you so much as even had $1,000 in this play at 4x. I'm not even sure if you can do 4x, maybe even 3x. Okay, so let's say you had $1,000 in here at 3x, and you played this, and let's say you sold so much as, you know, even up here or something for 500% gain, because that pump was quick. That was a big, huge pump, and it happened fast. Okay, so you made 1,500% profit in like 3 days off of one coin. So you turned $1,000 into $15,000. I mean, that's how quick, you know, these life-changing, I don't want to say life-changing, excuse me. That's how quick your portfolio can change, you know, margin trading altcoins, but please at the same time using good risk management to not lose your money. So now what I'm going to do as a strategy is, okay, so I got about $3,300 in Tether. So when my current bags that I'm sitting in that are in a loss, if they kind of bounce up and get me out of them, either at break even or in profit, and let's say I get my current balance to, you know, $10,000, don't forget, guys, to always pay yourself. Okay, so my goal is when I get to $10,000, I'm going to take out my initial investment, which is $500, and I'm going to put that back in the bank. Then on top of that, I'm going to pay myself and reward myself, and maybe take out like another $500 and treat myself. Put that in the bank too. So when I get to $10,000, I'm going to take $1,000 out, put it in the bank, you know, I don't know, take the wife out on a nice date, or buy myself something. I need some new front tires. Okay, well, that's going to be about $500 alone, or, you know, whatever you want to spend that money on. So that way I'm playing with just house money. My initial investment is out. I took some profit out, and now I would have $9,000 left, and then I can take half of that, put it into Tether where it's safe, or put it into a cold wallet where it's safe, and then I can just continue to scalp with the other half. And that's kind of what I'm doing. That's kind of what I'm doing now. So I moved a lot of my profit out of Bitcoin and into a stable coin. So again, even if there was another black swan event like February with the coronavirus or whatever, and I wake up tomorrow and half of my bags dumped 50%, and this is now down to $3,000 instead of $6,000. Hey, I still got $3,300, 100% safe in Tether, which is still about, you know, 600-700% profit above where I initially started. So develop your own strategies, especially with margin trading, and especially even with margin trading altcoins, how you're going to manage your portfolio. Take some profit out, move some profit into a stable coin, you know, diversify from being able to play USD pairs versus Bitcoin pairs, so you kind of have that hedge against yourself in case your Bitcoin pairs dump and your US dollar pairs pump. So you can kind of offset your losses there. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else to say, really. How's my XLN doing? Damn it, that popped. That bounced. See, I wanted to get that down there. Okay, so again, here we had our support zone laid out. Okay, so we dipped into our support zone, and it got a nice pop. So again, if you were scalping that, if you were scalping this on CoinDCX, and let's say your entry was down here, and this is actually where I was wanting to get in last night, right before bed, but it's also one of my strategies not to get into a position, a new position, before I go to bed. But I would have woken up to, let's just say, about an 8% move. I would have made 32% profit. Okay, so then I would have noticed that these price candles are failing to make a new high. It's rolling over. Price seems to be coming down. There's really only one support zone, and that's right back where I bought it at. So I could have made that quick 32% profit and then reloaded excuse me, reloaded down here in that same zone that I bought at, and I could have done one or two things. I could have reloaded the same amount of coins that I had bought here, and that 32% profit that I made, I could have moved to Tether. Could have moved to a stable coin, moved to a different altcoin, or I could have added that in here with my original position, and then when this bounced again, compounded those gains, compounded those profits. So, I mean, there's a lot of different strategies that you can do to quickly grow your account and grow your portfolio. So you just kind of have to get a feel for what works for you. So again, kind of find your own strategy. Not too happy. See, I kind of got too confident because I was making some serious profit right here, some serious gains. It was a good run, and now I kind of jumped into some plays maybe a little bit too early, and I kind of got in my head, into my emotions. Like, yeah, we're kicking ass, we're doing good, making lots of profits. Let's hop into the next coin that hasn't popped. MTL was one of them. WAN was another one of them. I was looking at Quark Chain for another bounce. FTM still hasn't mooned. FTM did not get some monster push like a lot of the other coins did, but this so far kind of looks to be holding a support zone right here. Okay, so for all I know, this is a support, and then it catches another push, and then okay, well great, I'm back in profit on that play. Same with Quark Chain. All right, give me that just a little bounce, and I'm back in profit. Then after that, when I sell, I don't give a shit what it does. It can go back down. Okay, so yeah, develop your strategy, or I hope you guys learned something from my strategies, how my thought process around how to deal with my positions, how to handle my positions, adding margin to reduce my liquidation price point, and then when the coin recovers, take that margin back out so I have that money freed up that I can put back into Tether or back into another coin, or what have you. And then again, from there, really guys, the trading is the same. Support, resistance zones. That's it. So there's really nothing different or nothing special about the profits that I've made scalping altcoins that I don't teach you guys and show you guys literally every day. The trading is the same, support, resistance, trends, and all of that stuff. It's all the same that I teach you guys. The difference, I guess, really is the mindset. So you have to make sure that you develop a different mindset for trading altcoins than you do Bitcoin, because Bitcoin moves a lot slower in some cases than altcoins do, because altcoins again can move 3 to 12% in a day easily, whereas a choppy Bitcoin can do 3% over 3 days. Okay, so I hope that helped. Be sure you guys used your spreadsheet. Hope that was a good enough explanation of CoinDCX. Pretty simple exchange to use. It's tapped into Binance API, so any altcoins, all the order books here are exactly what you're going to see on Binance. Okay, so hit me up if you guys have any questions. Let me know if this was helpful. Hope this maybe kind of helped mold your mindsets a little bit on the difference between trading altcoins and Bitcoin, and the level of emotions that you got to get rid of with trading altcoins, because they move in greater ranges per day than Bitcoin does. Okay, so that's it. Give me a holler if you guys got any questions.